Hello, everybody. My name is Chris Wood. I live near Desrado, Ontario, and this is my story of 5 years revenge retaliation. Back in late 2019 or 2018, there was some crimes going on in Napanee, homeless trafficking and homeless exploitation and other crimes. As a result, I found out about it and I started to warn people that it was taking place. As a result, I went to mental health to get help. I talked to a woman named Stacey to get help for another woman who was a patient of theirs who was causing problems. So, to save her from getting in trouble or whatever, I went there to see if they could do something to help her. 24 hours later, o.p.p cop Spencer Mills shows up at my door with threats, intimidations, letting me know that if I did not stop talking about what was taking place with the homeless trafficking and other crimes, there would be serious consequences. Later on that day, August of 2019, I was still sitting outside at a previous address, and ex-o.p.p chief or commander went by. He was driving a white Jeep Wrangler, him and somebody in a black truck behind him. He waved at me. I waved back. When I waved back, I took that as a sign, I believe, because that black truck pulled up beside him, and they pointed and shot me with something. It wasn't a bullet, but they shot me with something, and it went into my right ear. I started to have problems after that. Every time I would go out, I was getting burning in my head. And whatever it was shot into me, it was starting to move around in my head. So, wondering what the hell was going on, I decided I'm going to go to the hospital. I go to Lennox and Addington County General Hospital, and in November of that year, they finally got me an appointment for a CAT scan. I go in to get my CAT scan done, and one known as Stacey, mental health worker, the one I talked to try to get help for somebody else previously that I just said, was at the hospital. I come to find out later I was there with my mother and somebody else at the time. I come to find out later she said she was there for my benefit. I had nothing to do with this woman in any way, shape, or form except for going to get help previously for somebody else. Anyway, I get my CAT scan done, and afterwards, I wanted to see the results pictures, and I was told that I could not see them. I would not understand them, thinking that I was an idiot or whatever. Anyway, I was pretty much medically blacklisted after that. I was told you need medication, da 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 da. And next thing you know, I was medically blacklisted. Not happy with what had happened with the CAT scans, I decided to go to Kingston General Hospital. I go to Kingston General Hospital to try to find out what's going on, to try to get help. They conveniently got a phone call stating that I was there, or that I was suicidal. Not true in any way, shape, or form. Never have been, never will be. But whoever the call came from at the time, it worked. I had long hair, I have tattoos, and whoever it come from, it was taken serious. So I was not taken serious and got the help to get the proof that I needed of what was taking place. Still not satisfied. I had to keep going back to Napanee, Lennox, and Addington County General Hospital. Anyway, come to find out, every time I would go to the hospital, I was being treated like shit. I was being belittled. I was being called names. I was being treated like garbage, or I just wasn't being treated at all. Wondering what the fuck's going on. Come to find out that I had a falsified file against me. Compliments of one Dr. Tatiana V, who was known to be Dr. Margie V at the time. aka Dr. Tatiana V. Dr. Tatiana, the one named on, I can't really pronounce her name, but she's a Queen's medicine doctor, and she also was at the hospital. I was going to the hospital. I was not being treated. I was being treated like shit, and I was getting up and walking out a lot of the time. And it was being made to look like I was refusing treatment, and that's not the case. I was being belittled and treated like shit, name called retarded, while I am having all of these provable problems going on with me, and doctors have no concern whatsoever. I then go to Belleville Hospital to find out what's going on to try to get help, and there was a French doctor working, and he was the one that came in and said, "I'm looking at your file. There is nothing that we can and will do for you." And I kept getting that over and over again. "We seen your file, we seen your file, we seen your file." It got to the point where I was having to go to the hospital to try to get help. I was having all of these problems, possible heart attacks, strokes, and other problems, while being completely and totally brain fucked and deformed, and having all kinds of serious problems. And every time I would go, they were trying to make it sound and look like it was a psychological problem or a drug problem, and that's not the case. That was also another thing that happened. I went to Kingston again, and they conveniently got a phone call stating about drugs that I do not do, which I am totally 100% against. And everybody knows me, knows I'm against them. I've lost too many friends and family, and I myself overdosed from drugs in 2012, and that was a wake-up call for me. But they got that call stating about drugs, whoever it come from, and I was not taken serious again. May 27, 2021, I was kidnapped under false pretenses by one Shelley Hafner, who is o.p.p. and also mental health worker at Napanee Daily Tea Company, under false pretenses of incompetency. That was done in an attempt to shut me up. That was done in an attempt to get me kept, and that was done so they could get my blood and my piss, which they got. When they found out what had happened, them kidnapping me, doing that to me 24 hours after me asking for help, legal and criminal help against the police and everybody else with the crimes against me, I was kidnapped and taken to Kingston. Going to o.p.p, trying to get arrested, being surrounded, hands on guns, while my face, my skull, my body is being mutilated. Lies, time buying, cover ups, arrest refusals, false arrest on me twice, and that was done to get my pictures, prints, signatures, and everything else they needed for this identity theft, forgeries, framings, and frauds against me. The lies, the time buying with provable deforming, provable 100% facial and skull deforming and changes against me that have taken place, while being falsely charged and being blamed for doing it to myself to prevent me help. And this is why Lennox and Addington County General Hospital doctors are criminally negligent, involved in co-committing and covering up crimes with and for o.p.p. and their accomplices, the slave trafficking, the human trafficking, the sex assaults, identity thefts. They are all sex offenders, drug trafficking. Ontario Provincial Police, who are very seriously dangerous, ex-o.p.p. Chief or Commander, year 2019, that drove the white Jeep Wrangler that had me shot in Napanee on the corner of Bridge and Center Street. Staff Sergeants, years 2019, 2021. Constable Ward, Shannon Cork, Dave Weiss, Robert Lucas. He actually told me he could fuck me, kill me, get away with it. Money Badge Family Town Council at one time. Stacey, once again, the mental health worker that was Napanee Daily Tea Company, and Dr. Tatiana V's girlfriend, the one that falsified my medical file and the one that showed up for my CAT scan. There is Shelley Hafner or Huffner, the one that had me kidnapped. There is Spencer Mills 14716 and Robert Kane 7224. Lennox and Addington County General Hospital doctors who are criminally negligent, involved in co-committing and covering up with o.p.p. crimes, and everyone else is for themselves, for cops, and for accomplices with criminal negligence and intent for 5 years. Once again, Dr. Tatiana V. I hold her responsible, and I am officially accusing her of criminal medical negligence with intent to commit and cover up. I am accusing her of attempted homicide with the intent to commit and cover up, torture crimes, full physical identity theft on me because of what has been done and me not being able to get any medical help. I hold her responsible. Dr. Barton, Dr. Pritchard, Dr. Waldron, Dr. McGregor, ex-CEO Coverups, and patient relations Aaron Brown are all criminally negligent, involved in co-committing and covering up. Their accomplices, a guy known as Bill Wooldridge. He has many alias names: Bill Wooldridge, Bill Cooldridge, Bill Delarosable, Robert Cross, Stephen Mavis, James Bubbles. He also thinks that he and I were switched at birth, believes that he is my dad. He was criminally stalking my mother, and he caused her death. He killed her in 2020 with one Blair Frederick Hardy, who is a meth trafficker. He is guilty of my identity theft. He is a homosexual. He is obsessed. He is guilty of welfare, disability, old age pension frauds. He's guilty of rapes, and he and the one known as Bill Wooldridge are the ones that run. He is the leader of the Hardy Boys gang, and they are the ones that run and own o.p.p., including the drug trade through Robert Kane. There is a Robert Berry. He is a sex slave trafficker. They all are. He is a truck driver, and he is a possible serial killer as well. Bert, the hitman hustler, alleged NHL hockey player for the Philadelphia Flyers and Hartford Whalers. He is guilty of being involved with my identity theft, torture crimes, and attempted homicide. Tyler T. Bag Lake, he is guilty of torture crimes. He's guilty of torturing and murdering my dog, killing my dog in 2023, guilty of attempted murder on me. Jason Gimpy Two-Step in Allstein, he is guilty of my identity theft with the intent to commit identity disability and insurance fraud. He is a crackhead. He is a well-known, he said he deals fentanyl between Napanee and Kingston. It is laced, causing overdose murders, which is being covered up because it's being done with intent. There is Raymond LeBlanc. He is a child groomer. He is a criminal stalker, and he is guilty of torture crimes and attempted murder on me. Dale Hartwick. He is guilty of my being involved with my identity theft, torture crimes, attempted homicide with the intent to commit 4 drop charges for a stabbing he committed against his wife or ex-wife's boyfriend at the time. And Dale Hartwick's wife, boyfriend, husband, whatever, Tony Anthony Axel Rose Hearns, who is guilty of torture crimes. He's being involved with my identity theft, and I can prove how to as well. Being involved with my identity theft and changes what has happened to me. Guilty of sex assault, guilty of attempted paralyzing me, and guilty of attempted murder with intent to commit. These are all o.p.p. drug-fed, money-paid pieces of shit. $22,000 to have them arrested or anyone else. My legal rights, my medical rights, my human rights have been taken away from me. No matter how much I can show and prove crimes, it is not good enough. I am medically blacklisted within the province of Ontario, and because I cannot afford to go to Quebec or down east or to Manitoba, I am pretty much screwed. This is when people go missing. It is through the police, it is through criminal doctors, and it is through accomplices, ex-inmates, junkies that they use to commit these crimes full physical identity theft of me, how they are trafficking, framing, and committing homicides through identity thefts, through criminal doctors, the lies, the time buying, the cover-ups, arrest refusals, false arrest, blaming their victims for everything taking place, while conveniently buying the time to brain injure them, body mutilate them, torture them, and eventually kill them. They are guilty of doing this to me for revenge retaliation for me speaking of their crimes as well. I also have illegally prisoner tracking on me as well from the one known as Bill Woldridge or Bill Coolidge or Stephen Mavis. Also, that's one of the alias names he uses, and is also a wanted inmate walkaway escapee. And one of the alias names this Robert Cross uses is Stephen Mavis. He was stalking children for o.p.p, ex-chief or commander for sex slavery trafficking. I have been completely skull split. Right now, as I am doing this, I am 100% completely and totally numb. No feeling in my head whatsoever, so damage is done, time is bought. Luckily, I don't have the $22,000 to get anybody arrested. As it stands right now, one Dale Hartwick, one Tony Hearns, one Jason Van Alstyne, one Blair Hardy, one Tyler Lake, and one Bert Hitman Hustler are the most ones that are criminally involved with my identity theft. As I'm doing this right now, my back of my skull is being deformed on me. It feels like it's being pushed out. I am 52 years old, and these are all sex offenders, junky, low-life pieces of shit in Napanee that are guilty of this. I am being turned into look like an inbred crackhead, low-life piece of shit garbage who is obsessed with me. You are ending the Wood bloodline by doing this to me, o.p.p. Fuck. My legal rights, my medical rights, my human rights have been taken from me while this has been going on. So, congratulations. All feeling in my fucking head is completely and totally gone, and it has nothing to do with drugs or anything else. It has to do with me being shot by whatever I was shot with, and all of this began. If they can do this to me, a 52-year-old man, completely and totally commit identity theft on them, and end bloodlines and commit murders and torture crimes with medical proof while keeping their victims 100% medically blacklisted, how many others is being done to and being covered up criminally around Napanee in Kingston, especially through Dr. Tatiana. Like I said, I hold her criminally responsible and negligent for attempted murder with intent to commit and cover up crimes through my medical file falsifications and getting me medically blacklisted, plus the false arrest and charging that was done on me twice through the hospitals to cover up crimes that they are guilty of. 5 years revenge retaliation. Public, beware of this. I hope this is being seen. Hit the like, share, subscribe. It's very serious. It's very important, especially the share, because I am being changed. And o.p.p, this is how they traffic, frame, and are murdering victims, and I can prove 100% how it is being done to me. Just luckily, I can't get no help.